Jacob Beach, here on behalf of the Preppers Bunker Outdoors. This is my beautiful wife, Mrs. Beach.
Hey guys. So what Jake and I are going to do, we are really interested in the whole survival lifestyle, and we decided that we are going to do commentary every week on History Channel's new show, Alone.
So, if you haven't seen Alone, you might not want to watch this because there will be some spoilers, but the concept is that the History Channel is putting 10 survivalists out on Vancouver Island in Canada, and they get to pick 10 items from a list of about 20 items, and it's all going to boil down to the last person surviving on the island wins $500,000. So, Mariah, what were the items that they were allowed to choose from? What did most of the people pick?
Okay, so there was a whole list of items that they were allowed to choose. I'm going to talk about the most common that were chosen, which we have 550 cord, an axe, sleeping bag, a 2-quart pot, a ferro rod, knife, and a tarp. Those were the most common that almost all contestants brought. As far as what I would bring, my 10 items would be a bivy cover. I feel like a bivy cover, it's waterproof, and you don't have to go through and like set up this whole shelter. I feel like you're less of a target to bears, and you're more hidden, in my opinion. I'd also bring a knife, a sleeping bag, a pot to cook food in, water bottle, a ferro rod, fishing line, emergency rations, which is something that they could choose to bring, an axe, and 550 cord. What items would you bring?
Well, let's see here. I'd bring a 550 cord, an axe, sleeping bag, bivy, 2-quart pot, ferro rod, fishing line with hooks, a knife, a saw, and a sharpening stone. Now, my concept is that for food gathering, especially on Vancouver Island, being it's a saltwater beach, you'll have a lot of access to clams and gooey ducks and all kinds of stuff like that. You also have access to a lot of fishing, and when it comes to hunting and self-defense, you can make a spear with a knife very easily. With a saw and an axe, you can fell some good-sized trees, make a pretty good shelter, a solid shelter that you'll actually feel safe in and be able to stay dry in. And everything else is just the basics. So, I chose to opt with nothing fancy.
Okay. And Jake, do you feel like your military experience has taught you survival skills?
Well, that's what's kind of funny. Because one of the contestants, Josh, was a police officer. And being a police officer in most situations, even more so than the military, probably has about nothing to do with survival. So to directly answer the question, I learned nothing in the military, really, that would go directly towards survival. Most people don't. What I did learn that I think would give me an edge is how much you can go through without a fire, without a shelter, and still live. You know, whether it was 20 degrees, 30 degrees, 40 degrees, I was out there in a sleeping bag in a bivvy, raining, pouring, nothing over me, and we were never allowed to have fire, not once in my military career. So I think a lot of the competitors in this series might have wasted a lot of time and energy trying to get a fire going when really they could have made themselves a couple good spears or weapons or anything to put distance between anything they didn't want to be around, and probably slept a little more soundly at night since most of them didn't get a fire going anyways.
Right. think that a spear is like a key item when you're on an island like that. And it's only been a day, but like you said, that'd probably be one of the first things that I would try to get going.
Well, and Mitch complained specifically about not having a weapon when he heard the wolves. Yeah, you've got a little 3-inch knife or whatever it is that you have, and it's not a weapon against wolves, cougar, or bear. But making a weapon that would give you stand-up space from a predator is very, very simple. And so speaking about the predators, how do you feel about the predators, Mrs. Beach?
Okay, well, I'm going to be honest. Bears, wolves, cougars, that is absolutely terrifying to me. I would be terrified. We went camping in the Ozark Mountains, and we have a video about that. But right by our camp, there was bear poop. Immediately, I was like, I don't know if I really want to camp here. That's really... And I was paranoid all night about these bears. It's scary. And you know, another example, we did like a bug out bag survival camping trip not too long ago. This was my first experience sleeping under a tarp, no tent. It was traumatic. It was very traumatic. I had a meltdown, tears. I wanted to go home, but I knew that Jake wanted me to be out there. He wanted me to experience it, and I'm glad that we went out there and we did it, because now I know that I can sleep under a tarp with no tent. But it's dark, you hear coyotes, and I was scared. I was very uncomfortable. So, to answer the predator question, terrifying. Just scared.
I think what's important about the predators on Vancouver Island, they have the highest population density of cougars, I believe they said, in the world, and cougar attacks, or mountain lions. They also have black bears and wolves. The wolves are not Alaskan wolves, they're smaller, they're more like coyotes in size and demeanor. But still, the island is saturated with predators, completely. I mean, the contestants see bears all over the place right off the bat. This is a very good thing in survival, from my point of view. Because a lot of predators means that there's a lot of food. And it means that most likely the predators, none of them are probably starving to death. They're not going to be rabid and daring as a predator in a more sparsely populated area could be. Predators themselves obviously are also food, and the more predators that you eliminate, the more food saturation there is for yourself. This is a very wet, damp environment. It's actually very close to the area I grew up in Washington. There's a lot of life there for a reason. There's a lot to eat. There's a lot to drink. Besides the discomfort of being wet and cold, this really is almost an ideal survival place. So I see the predators as an opportunity. I see them as something that the contestants knew about before they went out. And I think before going after fire, water, and food, it could have been wise to make a weapon for protection, even if it's only for peace of mind.
Yep.
So, Mariah, how did you feel about Josh, his overall testimony, and how he handled his situation?
Okay, it's hard for me to say a bunch of stuff about him, being that I'm not there. And as I said, I would be terrified of these predators. But Josh said that he was a fighter. And he just made it sound like he was there for the win. And almost immediately, once he got to his destination, it almost looked like he was going to break down. And I thought, I don't know if he's going to last very long. I feel like he handled his situation very poorly. He came across a bear den and immediately panicked. He was just really, really scared. And these bears were up in a tree. She did have cubs, but she didn't come running down the tree to kill him.
She was afraid of him. She went up in the tree to get away from him.
She was afraid of him. And I thought he was going to move his camp. Well, he didn't. And he heard some rustling, and turns out it was bears. And he just freaked out. And he was like, I'm leaving. I'm not here to be stalked. And if you know anything about black bear, they are a more docile, scaredy cat bear.
Well, all he did was yell, "Hey, bear," and they ran away. They were just curious.
So I feel like if you're given this opportunity, once in a lifetime, go out on this survival show, you have a chance to win $500,000. I'm sure it's tough to get on the show. You get there, and you last for one night, and before the one night's over, you want to leave? I just feel like he should have manned up a little bit more and taken this opportunity to really survive out there and to, do this stuff that he's saying that he could do as a police officer. He had the training. Well, get out there and show us that you do. But he didn't take that opportunity.
Well, I think the biggest thing that's surprising to me about Josh was that immediately on his bio on the History Channel, it says that he likes to look danger straight in the eyes, look a challenge straight in the eyes. He said that he was a fighter, and he said repeatedly that he's a police officer. And I think that he would have saved a lot of face if he would have just never said any of that. And now he has to go back to his police department after lasting one night in the woods in Vancouver.
Yeah. So, Jake, what do you think is the most important aspect of survival?
The number one most important aspect of survival is mental. It's keeping calm, thinking about what you're doing, and not losing control of your situation. If you've lost the battle in your mind, you're already dead or tapped out. I think, from what I've heard from other viewers, that most people guessed within the first 10 seconds of meeting Josh that he was going to give up.
You could kind of see it almost immediately when you met him, and then as soon as he got on the island, just this complete look of despair. What am I doing here? And you could kind of see immediately, like I said, I don't know if he's going to last, and he didn't. Very much a mental state of mind. If you're out there, let's just take, I wasn't hardcore surviving. We went on that camping trip with no with no tent. I wasn't hardcore surviving, and I did melt. I had a meltdown. But then I was like, I need to be out here. I need to do this. This is what I need to do. I calmed down. I wasn't by myself. I did have my husband with me, but I was able to change my mindset to I need to be out here. This is important. It's all it's all in your mind.
Once you've accepted defeat in your mind, like I said, that's the end of the game, and you can be the strongest guy, you can have the best endurance, you can have the most knowledge, but if you're mentally weak, you aren't going to make it. I think a lot of people have died from simply having a weak mind.
So what we'd like to start doing, like I said, we're going to do this every week. The episodes air on Thursday. So if you want, after you watch next week's episode, or even if you watch this week's episode, comment and let us know your thoughts. But also for next week, when you watch it, Thursday night when you're done watching it, comment on this video and let us know if there's anything you'd like for us to cover, to talk about. We're happy to do it. So we're going to do this every week. We're really excited about it. I think it's going to be just awesome. I really do. So if you liked this video, please hit the like button, rate, comment, and subscribe to the Preppers Bunker Outdoors.
Little Brookie!
What do you think?
Hey, we did good.
Hi, little sweet baby! Little sweet baby, little sweet baby!
Oh, you got that on video, didn't you?
And it's going online.